viewers, today I will tell you about Mela Rag Vargikaran, the system which was prevalent in the medieval period for the classification of rags. Mela, the musical term, was used maximum in the medieval period. Mela may be said the synonymous to the present Thaat. Thaat is a term used by great musicologist Pandit Vishnu Narayan Bhatkhande, the exponent of Thaat Rag Vargikaran, which is the present system for the classification of Hindustani rags. But long before Thaat Rag Vargikaran, music scholars of the north and south adopted Mela Rag Vargikaran system to classify their rags in males or the present scales. Before describing about this system in detail, we need to know what is Mela. Pandit Ahobal, the author of Sangeet Parijat in 17th century, has defined Mela as Mela Swar Samuh Syad Rag Vyanjan Shaktiman, which means Mela is a combination of swars, that is notes, which is capable of producing rags. It's obvious that Mela possess the same characteristics of present Thaats. So, like Thaat, the Mela may be defined as a series of 7 swars or notes in ascending order, beginning from Sa, the keynote of octave. In other words, we can say that the present Thaat or the present scale was known as Mela or Mela Karta by the medieval music scholars. In the medieval period, great music scholars of the north as well as south have mentioned about Mela in their musical treatises. Northern musicologists like Pandit Lochan, author of Rag Tarangani, Hriday Narayan Dev, author of Hirday Kautik and Hirday Prakash, Pandit Ahobal, Sangeet Parijat, and Srinivas Pandit, Rag Tatve Bodh, and the southern music scholars like Pandit Ramamatya, author of Swarmil Kalanidhe, Pandit Somnath, Ragve Bodh, and Pandit Venkatmukhi, author of Chaturdandi Prakashika, and many others have mentioned about males in their texts. They not only just mentioned but have classified all the prevalent rags of their time in males. Though the number of males accepted by all of them differ from each other. Mela Rag Vargikaran system was adopted by many music scholars in the medieval period. It is also true that Rag Ragini Vargikaran system too was prevailing parallel to this system in Hindustani music. But we find Mela Rag Vargikaran for the classification of rag in many important musical treatises of north and south as well. Let's have a look on the northern musical texts first. Pandit Lochan, the author of Rag Tarangani in 15th century, has accepted 12 males to classify 75 Janne rags of his time. His 12 males were Bhairavi, Todi, Gauri, Karnat, Kedar, Eman, Sarang, Megh, Dhanashri, Purva, Mukhari, and Deepak. 25 rags of his time, that is the maximum number of rags, were produced from Gauri Mela, 17 from Karnat, 12 from Kedar, 7 from Megh, 5 from Sarang, 4 from Eman, 2 from Bhairav, and 1 each from Todi, Dhanashri, Purva, and Mukhari Mela. And no rag was produced from Deepak Mela. It is very significant to mention that the notes of the aforesaid 12 males of Pandit Lochan are similar to some extent with the present Thaat of Pandit Bhatkhande, though their names differ. Let's have a look for the comparative study. The notes of Pandit Lochan's Bhairavi Mela are the same as present Kafi Thaat. Todi male is present Bhairavi Thaat, Gauri is Bhairav, Karnat is Khamaj, Kedar is Bilawal, Iman is Yaman. Dhanashri male has affinity to some extent with Puriya Dhanashri Rag. And Mukhari male is present Asavri Thaat of Pandit Bhatkhande. Not only this, even most of the rags mentioned in Rag Tarangani are recognizable to the musician of today. This speaks of the historical significance of the text. Pandit Hriday Narayan Dev, the author of Hriday Kautik and Hriday Prakash in 16th century, accepted 12 males of Rag Tarangani to classify the rags of his time and added one more male named Hriday Rama to classify his self-created rag Hriday Rama. Like Pandit Lochan, he too did not classify any rag under Deepak male. Instead, he mentioned Thaat Prakir ne Deepaka Sansthan Lekhyam. The males accepted by Pandit Hriday Narayan Dev were Bhairavi, Karnat, Mukhari, Todi, Kedar, Iman, Megh, Gauri, Sarang, Purva, Dhanashri, and leaving one Deepak male of Pandit Lochan and adding one new male named Hriday Rama for his self-created rag of the same name. One more interesting thing to mention about Hriday Narayan Dev's male is that he categorized his 12 males on the basis of the number of Vikrit Swar, that is flat and sharp notes used in the male. For example, the first category is the male with all Shuddh Swar. This category contained only one male, and that is Bhairavi male. Then he categorized male with one Vikrit Swar. This category contained two males, Karnat and Mukhari. Male with two Vikrit Swar. This category contained two males, Todi and Kedar. Then the next category is males with three Vikrit Swar. In this category, there were three males, Iman, Megh and Hriday Rama. The next category is male with four Vikrit Swar. Again, in this category, there are three males, Gauri, Sarang and Purva. And the last category is male with five Vikrit Swar. Only one male fall in this category, and that is Dhanashri. Pandit Hriday Narayan Dev classified all the Janya rags of his time on the basis of the Vikrit Swar, that is flat and sharp notes, used in rags. While describing the salient features of any rag, even he mentioned about this. For example, the description of Iman is like this: Gandhar Madhyam Nishadana Tivar Chwe. Medieval periods other very important musical treatises are Sangeet Parijat, authored by Pandit Ahubal, and Rag Tat Vibodh by Pandit Srinivas. Sangeet Parijat, written in the second half of the 17th century by Pandit Ahubal, is the most important text on Hindustani music. Though in this text we find the mention about all the important subjects of music, but there is no special mention about the classification of rags in particular males. The mention about the names of some males in the text reveals that in Pandit Ahubal's time, perhaps the classification of rags under males had become a common tradition and it did not require any special mention. Rag Tat Vibodh, another very valuable text on Hindustani music, was authored by Pandit Srinivas in the early 18th century. In this text, there is a mention about Sampurna, Shadv and Odav, the three categories of males. Though the author did not mention the exact number of males and the rags of his time, Pundarik Vitthal, a musician from south, authored 4 valuable texts: Sidrag Chandrodaya, Ragmala, Ragmanjari and Nartan Nirnay, which were based on northern Indian music. The rags mentioned in Sidrag Chandrodaya belong to both the systems of music, that is northern and southern, but Ragmala and Ragmanjari texts were based upon northern Indian music only. 19 males mentioned in Sidrag Chandrodaya and Ragmala were Mukhari, Malavgod, Shri, Shuddhnat, Deshakshi, Karnatgod, Kedar, Hijaz, Hamirnat, Kamod, Todi, Abhiri, Shuddhrali, Shuddramkari, Devkari, Sarang, Kalyan, Hindol and Nadramkari. 69 rags were classified in the aforesaid 19 male. The maximum number of rags, that is 21, were produced from Malavgod, whereas 13 from Kedar male. This reveals that the rags of the present Bilawal and Bhairav That were much in vogue that time. In Ragmala text of Pandrik Vitthal, there is a mention about Purush Rag, Istri Rag and Putra Rag. The system of classification based upon male and female categorization of rags, or Rag Ragani Putra Padhati of northern Indian music. He not merely mentioned about this system, but described in detail accepting 6 principal rags, 5 Ragnis and 5 Putras for each rag. It is not irrelevant to mention that Pundrik Vitthal had accepted both the systems to classify the rags, that is male rag Vargikaran and rag Ragini Vargikaran as well. This only shows about the parallel going on 2 systems for the classification of rags in the medieval period, which were totally different from one another. About Rag Ragini Vargikaran, I have given the detailed information in my another lecture exclusively on Rag Ragini Vargikaran. Except the northern Indian music scholars, southern musicologists too accepted the male rag Vargikaran, which too needs a special mention. The South Indian music scholar Pandit Ramamatya, in his very valuable text Swarmil Kalanidhi, written in 1550, had mentioned about 20 males to classify 63 rags of his time. These males were Mukhari, Malavgod, Shri, Sarangnat, Hindol, Shuddramkari, Desakshi, Kannadgol, Shuddhnat, Ahiri, Nadramkari, Shuddhrali, Ritigod, Vasant Bhairavi, Kedargod, Hijoji, Samvrali, Revgupti, Samant and Kamboji. In Swarmil Kalanidhi, out of 63 rags, the maximum number, that is 14, were classified under Malavgod male. Among the rest of the rags, 11 were classified under Shri, 9 under Sarangnat, 7 under Kannadgol, 4 under Shuddramkari, 3 under Hindol, 2 under Kedargol and 1 each under the rest of the males. Many males mentioned in Swarmil Kalanidhi have similarity with the present thoughts of Pandit Bhatkhande, though the names of the males and thoughts differ from each other. For example, Malavgod male is present Bhairav That, Shri male is Kafi That, Sarangnat is Bilawal That, Shuddramkari is Purvi That, and Hindol male has affinity to some extent with Asavri That of Pandit Bhatkhande. It is very clear from the male rag Vargikaran of Swarmil Kalanidhi that the rag of the present Bilawal, Kafi and Bhairav That had gained much popularity in his time. In another important text, Raga, authored by Pandit Somnath in 1610, there is a mention about 23 males to classify 75 rags. The importance of Raga lies in the fact that the structure of many rags mentioned in Raga has the similarity with the present rags. Hence, this text carries equal significance for the northern musicians. Many rags mentioned in Raga are recognizable to the northern musicians too. The most important musical treatise on the South Indian music is Chaturdandi Prakashika by Pandit Venkatmukhi. This is the most revered text of South Indian music in which Pandit Venkatmukhi has described the method of creating 72 males from 7 Shuddh and 5 Vikrit, that is 12 notes, which was absolutely based upon mathematical calculations. But for the classification of 49 rags, he selected only 19 males among those 72 males. 19 males of Pandit Venkatmukhi were Mukhari, Samvrali, Bhupali, Vasant Bhairavi, Gaul, Ahiri, Bhairavi, Shri, Hechuji, Kamboji, Shankrabharan, Samant, Desakshi, Nat, Shuddhvarali, Pantuvarali, Shuddhramkari, Sehrav and Kalyani. Amongst the above said 19 males, the maximum number, that is 14 rags, were classified under Gaud male, 8 under Shri, 7 under Shankrabharan, 3 under Kamboji, 2 each under Bhupali and Hejuji, and 1 each under the rest of the males. In Sangeet Saramrit, authored by Maharaja Tulajirao Bhonsle of Tanjore in 1783, there is a mention about 72 males of Pandit Venkatmukhi, but he selected only 21 males to classify 106 rags. Raga Lakshanam, another valuable text on the South Indian music, which still carries a significant place because the swars and the rags mentioned in Raga Lakshanam are still prevalent in the South Indian music. 72 males mentioned in the text differ to some extent from 72 males of Pandit Venkatmukhi. In Carnatic music, males mentioned in Raga Lakshanam are still followed. To sum up, we can say that male Raga Vargikaran was a system for the classification of rags in the medieval period. The important musical treatises of the north like Rag Tarangani, Rag Tatvibodh, Hridakautik and Hridaprakash, and the South Indian treatises like Swarmel Kalanidhi, Rag Vibodh, Chaturdandi Prakashika and many others have mentioned about male Raga Vargikaran system to classify all the prevalent rags. The musicologists of North and South on one hand classified the rags according to male Raga Vargikaran and on the other hand according to Rag Ragini Putra Padhati, which was also gaining popularity to classify the rags of Hindustani music. This shows that the two totally different systems for the classification of rags were going parallel in the medieval period. Male Raga Vargikaran was replaced in the early 20th century with the advent of Thaat Raga Vargikaran of Pandit Bhatkhande and Ragang Padhati of Narayan Moreshwar Hare, and this system was no longer used frequently in Hindustani music. There is no doubt that male Raga Vargikaran set a strong foundation for the present Thaat Rag Vargikaran. The musicologists of Hindustani music in the present have unanimously accepted the system for classification of rag, Thaat Rag Vargikaran of Pandit Bhatkhande. In the present period, this Thaat Rag Paddhati has gained fairly wide acceptance, and all the prevalent rags in Hindustani music have been classified in the 10 Thats of Pandit Bhatkhande. Though some rags do not carry the exact notes among any of these 10 Thats and cannot be properly classified in these 10 Thats, and we have to look back towards meals whenever we do not find any proper That to classify any rag. Hence, the significance of male rag Vargikaran still continues. Thank you.